Hey, good morning. Pregnant women in our population group is very important to me. Me and my wife had two children, and the first one was premature. My son Connor, he was about 4 pounds, and he had to go to the NICU. And then my second one, Michaela, she was also premature, and she was about 5 pounds, a little heavier, but she was a NICU baby too. So, and on the first baby, we tried our best. I was in a socioeconomical state. I was a low rank, so we were broke. So we had a lot of dollar menu and a lot of things that we didn't use the government programs like we should have because we were young and we just didn't understand how things worked. And uh, but by the time 4 years later we had our second baby, I was a higher rank and I had more money and we were more. I don't know. We used the food bank and we used some things that we could have used with my first son. So we tried our best to do that. But that's a big deal. Is we got to make sure we're eating the right things because in American society, we eat a lot of processed food and a lot of high salt intake and some things that we probably don't need to do as to have a healthy baby. So we learned in class that it can play a huge role in child's future and long-term health as well. So we know that pregnant women need highly nutritious foods and consume these foods from all the food groups. Their bodies need fresh products as much as possible. And we need to hit the fruits, the vegetables, everything. You kind of have to change your lifestyle because if you're not eating that already, once you get finding out you're pregnant, you probably need to start um, you need to find a support group for one thing. So hopefully your partner supports you. And then a second, you need to make sure that you're very conscious about what's going on in your body because you're eating for two. Um, so there is a compromise class, just like I said, when I was a little broke. Um, you know, it costs us money. There's ready available food, but sometimes the food's not nutritious, and you have to spend more money to get the higher amount of food, which is not fair, but that's how American society works. Um, so again, if you're getting too much food, it can increase too much food can increase the risk of cardiovascular complications. You could lead to type 2 diabetes, but too less of food, you're not getting the right nutrition for your kids. So you got to try both ways to you got to kind of even it out and balance it the best you can. I'm not saying you got to starve yourself and not eat any processed food or a burger or anything. You're allowed to have that. So another thing in the United States, the government tries to best to provide for vulnerable groups. We got WIC, we got SNAP, we got things you can go out there and we provide at least food for the ladies out there that have the kids. So that's a good thing we do in this society. I mean, I said we had more classes about nutrition. So even though you use the SNAP and WIC, if you're not buying the right stuff, it's still not good for you. So in a place like Southeast Asia, they have limited access to food because of the lack of production and little government support. This can lead to higher infant mortality rate and or death and serious complications for the mother. So biggest thing is just make sure you get a good support group, and then and that's what I would tell them, and make sure you're very conscious about what's going on in your body. Okay. Have a good day.